least one more game if they're going to win their first NBA championship. What a night here from Scotiabank Arena. That's Grant Hill, Steve Smith, Zeke, Isiah Thomas. I'm Matt Weiner. Good to have you with us. What are your thoughts? I mean, it was just a lot to unpack there that we didn't show you, but
I mean, it was a great game. I mean, Kevin Durant coming back at the start, getting off to 12 points, setting the tone, raising the tempo, and not only raising the tempo, but the confidence for the Warriors. Then, at the end of the game, what I saw is Draymond Green make an unbelievable defensive play. And the defensive play when he stopped Gasol, right? Didn't let the pass come down to Gasol for 2 points. Then closed out on Lowry, blocked a shot. When you talk about a defensive sequence in terms of intelligence, patience, stop the ball, close out, I mean, it was just picture perfect. I mean, it was beautiful to watch it.
Yeah, Isiah and Grant, I mean, so much to this game. We start off, like you said, with Kevin Durant, and unfortunately for him, he got hurt. But then you see Cousins come in for a flurry, really just took over the basketball game, and then Kawhi in that fourth quarter. But it still comes down to those two guys they call the Splash Brothers.
Yep.
You talking about hitting.
My. We
were walking to come out here, it was 103-100, and next thing you know, Grant, you said, the Warriors up 3, and I don't know what happened. We didn't get a chance to see it. So that's how quick they can knock down some threes and erase a deficit of 3 points to go up 3 just that quick on 2 shots.
You know, guys, we talked before the game, and we were just hoping with Kevin Durant coming back, and obviously we feel for him and the organization, him being out. We were hoping for a great game. You know, I think we got a great game indeed, and you're right. I mean, when Kawhi went on that 10-0 run, you kind of thought, okay, the game was over. And Golden State showed just a lot of toughness, a lot of grit. On that last possession, you talk about that closeout with Draymond. I thought Andre coming over to help on the drive, forcing Kawhi Leonard to swing it, and then Draymond getting out from Gasol and contesting on.
He easily could have made a mistake and gave up a basket. What he did on Gasol by closing down the middle, not letting Gasol get the layup, and then as the ball was in the air, most players move after the pass. Draymond moves when the ball is in the air. I mean, this is just beautiful defense. We get a stop here. Okay, now he holds Gasol, ball's in the air, he moves, close out, takes up the space. I mean, you cannot teach that any better, and you cannot execute it any better than that last defensive sequence that he had.
And Isiah, to add to this, Marc Gasol did everything to try to hold him, try to seal him, and he just kept fighting to get around. And also before that, Draymond, a couple plays before that, he hit a big 3 to get them close, and he was smiling. The confidence of guys that have been there before is shown tonight.
And it also just seemed like, and obviously, you know, this team is, you know, playing for a championship and had championships in years past, the Golden State Warriors. But almost like when Durant went down, almost felt like they want to win it for him. Like, you know, like they're playing for him. Not that they weren't necessarily or were before, but it just, like they weren't going to lose because they appreciated him getting out here and going through that. And that's just devastating for them, and they feel for their teammate to have to go through that. We don't know what it is. It doesn't look good, but just to come out and get this win with their guy going down, just impressive.
Well, it certainly appeared like a recurrence of the right calf injury, although he really reaches down more toward his Achilles area, same area, if nothing else. And that was with 9:46 to go in the second quarter. They led by 5 points when KD walked off. The Warriors actually managed to outscore the Raptors by 1 the rest of that second quarter, and I thought that was as impressive as anything we saw tonight, their response to KD walking off, because with all the other injuries piling up, Kevon Looney left this game tonight not to return. They had to deal with Iguodala's injury. They had to deal with Klay Thompson missing a game. It just keeps piling up, and they just keep finding ways to stay in it.
Well, this is what you love about Kevin Durant, and this is what we love as athletes. And all of us have had serious, you know, almost career-ending injuries where you had to make the decision, do you risk it all to win the basketball game, or do you save yourself? And the respect that and love that the Warriors show Kevin Durant, because he risked it all to win the basketball game. And we don't know what's going to happen, you know, with what type of injury it is. But clearly, he put it all on the line tonight, and that's what we respect. That's what we appreciate. and that's what we love. And that, unfortunately, that's what you want to see in your heroes. That's what you want to see in your gladiator players, so to speak. You want to see them risk it all, and he put it all on the line tonight to win the basketball game. And even though he got injured, his teammates responded.
See the appreciation there from Dwayne Wade. It's also a reminder that what we see out here in warm-ups is different than playing in a game, right? He looks great in warm-ups. You never know when an injury like that is going to pop. And if you watch some of the video, it literally popped. Here's Steve Kerr after what had to have been an exhausting win here in Toronto.
First question on the back right on 3.
Steve, Dennis O'Donnell, KPIX San Francisco. Can you describe your range of emotions right now from winning the game, but also losing KD and Kevon once again?
I don't think that I can, honestly. I just told the team I didn't know what to say because, on the one hand, I'm so proud of them, just the amazing heart and grit that they showed. And on the other, I'm just devastated for Kevin. And so it's a bizarre feeling that we all have right now. An incredible win and a horrible loss at the same time.
Arash over on the left side here.
Steve, to your left, Arash Madain with Sportsnet. How many times have you seen the Stephen Clay show just take over a game and deliver when it's all on the line?
I've been here 5 years, so I don't know, 100+ games times 5 years. I've seen it an awful lot. It doesn't happen every night, but it seems to happen most nights. They're amazing. They're amazing competitors, great shooters. Mark Jackson said it years ago. They're the best shooting backcourt of all time. And but maybe what people don't know is how competitive they are, and I thought that showed tonight.
Mark in the front.
Mark, Medina Bay Area News Group. We obviously got some of the information regarding Kevin and Kevon with his injuries, but is there any new information to report as well?
I believe Bob Myers is going to come in and speak on the health front. I don't really know much. Bob was back there during the game. He'll have more information.
Go ahead.
Anthony Slater with The Athletic. Is there any regrets about bringing Kevin back into the series now that with what happened?
Again, I'm going to leave that to Bob.
Right over here, Dan.
Steve, Dan Weinke with the Los Angeles Times. It looked like DeMarcus was not going to be in the rotation tonight, and then Kevin gets hurt. How critical were those 4 minutes from DeMarcus and kind of getting everybody back into the game after such a shocking thing?
Yeah, I thought DeMarcus was fantastic tonight. He stayed ready. He didn't get the first call, for that second quarter run. We went to Bogut, and then with the injury, we knew we needed his scoring, and he stayed ready and played a brilliant game. So very happy for him, and he's he's been through an awful lot himself over the last year plus with his own injuries. So this was a great night for him individually, and very happy for him.
Again, over here in the same row.
Steve, Brandon Hurley with the Carroll Times-Herald. Kawhi Leonard had a huge stretch in that fourth quarter. He took over the game. They regained the lead, the Raptors did, and the crowd was going crazy. You guys could have folded, but you guys regained the lead and then pulled it out. How do you think your guys were able to do that and overcome that?
I think we went down 6, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe it was 5. I don't remember. Was it 5? 6? But Steph and Clay hit back-to-back threes, I believe, and we got stops. Our defense was bending down the stretch, but we didn't break, and the last stop was tremendous. Amazing defense on that last play from all 5 guys. Draymond's block, he covered so much ground on Kyle's shot from the corner. So our guys just stayed with it, and they stayed poised, and just an amazing job finishing the game.
We will hear from Bob Myers in a little while when he reaches the podium here at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. Lots of heroes to discuss for the Warriors tonight. Just heard Steve Kerr address that Draymond Green defensive play. DeMarcus Cousins' minutes off the bench when it looked like he might not even go to him were remarkable. But sometimes, especially in this day and age, it comes down to three-point shooting, and the Warriors hit 20 of them tonight compared to 8 for the Raptors. They were 36 points better from the three-point line tonight, shooting 20 of 42, and that was obviously a huge difference for a team that hasn't been able to produce points in the paint in this series.
It was. I mean, the way they shot the basketball was just fantastic. Isaiah, you said it best. I thought because of Kevin Durant on the floor, you got cleaner looks from Klay and Steph, because you can't leave, and that's the spacing when you start talking about a guy like Kevin Durant. But I was just watching the stat sheet, not to get but 3 points from the Warriors, not to really get to the free throw line. It really came down to them shooting that three ball, and the Splash brothers really making their mark again in this Game 5.
Not only, you have to, I guess be impressed by how well they shoot the basketball, but I'm equally impressed at how well they're able to get open from the three-point line in crucial situations to get open looks. I mean, you're talking about moving without the basketball and understanding how and where to get a shot from that three-point line. And Toronto is one of the best defensive teams in the league. Everybody's conscious of them shooting the three ball, but yet those guys get open time and time again at the three-point line.
20 made threes, second most in finals history.
I love that point, Isaiah, because it speaks to Steph and Klay's ability to move without the basketball. It speaks to the awareness on second chance points, finding the three-point shooters. And on that shot where Klay Thompson put him up 3, 106-103, he was wide open.
Wide open.
Yeah.
And so the screen setting.
Yes.
Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala and Cousins setting screens for their guys. So it's a collective effort, but 23-pointers, you're supposed to win.
Yeah.
When that happens, and certainly they did.
And Durant hit 3 of those in 3 chances. I mean, it's you guys would know better than me, but it strikes me as just amazing the way he came out and shot the ball after more than a month away. But the other point I want to get to, for guys who are out there with other great players, how much did his presence early in the game help them get into that rhythm and get those shots off?
Well, I think of 2 things. One, Isaiah talked about it's important at the start of the game for Golden State to get off to a good start.
Which they did, yeah.
And
Hit
they
their
got
first
off to
5.
a great start, and I think in part because you had a Durant out there. You have to guard him. Even he came down the court, he wasn't even in the offense. You have to put a body out there. Now it spaces the floor. It's a different defensive attack when Durant's out there. And he hit 3 threes in the first quarter. And so it kind of reminded me, I don't want to compare it to legends versus legends, but it reminded me a little bit of Willis Reed, where he just gave him a little bit of an emotional lift, a confidence lift, and they were able to continue to ride that with him being hurt there. And so his presence was felt, was needed, was important, and helped them get off to that great start.
You know what? What I saw is that he grabbed the mind share of the Raptors and the mind share from the arena in terms of energy. All of the energy and focus was on Durant, which I think let everybody else on the Warriors team kind of breathe and say, oh, okay, we're free. And then when he came out and made a couple of shots, then it just loosened everything else up. But I think the energy of the building and the energy of the Raptors were strictly focused on Durant, which I think let everybody else kind of get a feel good about themselves that carried over into the fourth quarter.
And I think also, Isaiah, the 2 threes that he hit, they didn't play bad defense, but they turned their head for 1 second. Because of his able to shoot the ball, they're able to shoot it, and also his height, you can't recover on a guy like Kevin Durant. And then also he hit those 2. Then he walked into 1 and knocked down another 3. Then he had a block shot, a big block shot, we're saying, where he got a block shot. So his presence was there, and then I think it also loosened everything up for Steph and Klay.
And the shots that he made, Smitty, sometimes you hit a shot and the shot talks, right? And he made shots that kind of said, shut up.
That was to the whole arena.
To the whole. It's some shots you shoot and it talks, right? He made shots and he was telling the arena basically, shut up. I'm here. Let's go win this thing, and it was impressive to watch.
I will say, watching the way he was shooting and the way he was going, He was going for a big night tonight. If
Oh,
he
he was
hadn't
going to
gotten
have a big
hurt.
night.
A big night.
Well, and we were here for the warm-up, and the crowd had a lot to say when he came out, and he had a lot to say back when the game started. But he is done, it appears, for the series. You would certainly have to think so. But the Warriors still have life. They're celebrating in Oakland tonight. Oracle is not done yet. One more game, the final game at Oracle Arena, coming up in Game 6. Meanwhile, they'll have to wait for at least one more at Jurassic Park and here in downtown Toronto, Ontario. Klay Thompson scheduled to appear here on the post-game show when we come back.
Okay.
Mark, first question on your right.
Hi, Nick. Mark Schwartz, ESPN. What was the moment like for you and for your team when Kevin Durant went down, was injured, and was helped off the court?
Well, for me, I really felt for him, right? I know he was probably not 100%, and he gave it a shot tonight, right? And just made a, kind of a move on his own, and he went down kind of on his own, I think, without a collision or landing on something, so you knew it was probably, not good, But the moment for me is I love KD, love watching him play, and I when anybody goes down, you're saddened by it. But when one of the great players like that goes down, it's almost shocking.
Next question, fifth row.
Nick Lewis, Atzman, Raptors Republic. It seemed like after that, the next few minutes, execution waned on both sides. The crowd quieted down. How would you describe the aura in the arena for the next 5-10 minutes after the injury?
Well, again, I don't get a lot of that aura, but I did get some reaction from guys on our bench, and some of the guys on our bench were really shook up. And I even know at halftime when they came out and I mean, I don't know what the official word is, but somebody on the bench said he tore something, and I know Kyle, was on the bench sitting there and was shook up by that, and both Klay and Steph stopped and talked to Kyle there at halftime on our bench about it. So I think it's always a little eerie feeling for everybody when something like that happens on a big stage like this.
Third row on your right.
Nick, over here, Lucas Meyer, News Talk 1010 Toronto. Two questions. One on the last play, Kyle's shot there in the corner, just coming out of the timeout. Is that kind of a shot you were hoping to get, kind of staggered out of the top of the key? And then a broader question, we saw the team walking out of Game 4, all business, not really celebrating, not getting too high in the moment after a tough loss like this. How confident are you in the team being able to respond, going back to Golden State for Game 6?
I mean, we didn't take a timeout there on that last play, right? But we let him play, and Kawhi had it, and they doubled him, and he moved it to Fred, who moved it to Kyle, and we just didn't quite have enough space there. I thought it looked like it was going to be a really good shot, an open corner three, but I didn't see who got out there and got a piece of it. But again, I was confident we would come down and play and make the right decisions and get a good shot. I have a lot of faith in those guys. And as far as your second question, we don't really have much choice. And I think that our team has reacted all year long great to bad losses. And I would say it takes a lot to beat this team. And that took a hell of a lot of blows and a heck of a lot of balls bouncing the wrong way, in the last couple minutes. For us to come out on the wrong side of it tonight. But I'm super proud of the guys. Man, they played their guts out, kept on fighting, and put themselves in position to win it.
Tim, standing in the back right.
Nick, Tim Reynolds for the AP. To sort of elaborate on what you were just saying, I mean, if this thing had gone to plan, you're supposed to be up 3-2 right now. I mean, that's what, that's where home court is. You're supposed to be up 3-2 at this point.
Yeah.
Having said that, is it hard for you to not look at tonight as an opportunity loss?
No, not hard at all, Tim. I think that I always, I think after Game 2 in the Philly series, I said, listen, I expect this to be a long series, right? And I expect this one to be a long series. I'm not sitting here trying to think we should be this, be that. But if you'd have probably told me at the start of this thing, if
we could fast forward to a 3-2 lead you want to take, and I'd probably say yes.
Steve on the left side here.
Well, that's exactly where the Raptors are right now. Kevin Durant, all day long, his status was upgraded to eventually playing and starting and dancing a little bit before Game 5 as well. So the Hamptons 5 got the start tonight for the Warriors. They were 7-3 all-time in the postseason as a starting unit, and Durant was ridiculously good. No one had any right to expect what they got out of Durant in his 12 minutes on the floor, including 3 made threes without a miss.
I mean, he was beautiful. I mean, every shot that he made, when it left his fingertips, you knew it was going in. And this is the play that, you know, he goes between his legs and he puts that pressure on that calf. And, you know, hopefully, you know, we don't know what it is, but we know it's not good.
They gave him 10 minutes in the first quarter. He came out for a little bit, came back out for the second quarter, and then this happened. It actually happened before that moment, right about there. You can see the vibration in his right calf from whatever took place there, and he knew it immediately that he was done for the night. To their credit, in this roller coaster moment, it was interesting to hear Nick Nurse talk about the Raptors' reaction to this as well. The crowd, by the way, immediately cheered the injury and then thought better of it. The emotions got to them. Some of the players encouraged them to tone it down a little bit and eventually clapped him off.
Yeah, I thought that the cheer was more of, yeah, okay, he's hurt, but then right away it was more of appreciation of what had just happened, and, you know, acknowledging the greatness in Durant, as we see Leonard and Steph having, you know, great moments.
Leonard, that was a rarity for him early in this game. He was 4 of his first 15. Steph knocking down threes.
And that's a hard shot to be able to backpedal and stay on balance and shoot a three contested. That's unbelievable as a three-point shooter. You don't see a lot of guys being able to do that.
See the Warriors, they built a 12-point lead, actually got to 14, and then the Raptors came right back and cut it to 7. Kyle Lowry, crafty as always. And we go to the fourth. Golden State had a 6-point lead. Durant limps off on crutches with a boot on that right foot, and we await a diagnosis as an MRI planned for tomorrow. More from Lowry. Hesitation, and finds Serge Ibaka for the dunk. And it's a 3-point game with just under 8 minutes to go.
And Matt, Toronto just was chipping away, and this man right here took over, hit some big shots. I think 10 in a row, 2 threes, 2 drives. And you kind of felt like Toronto was in control and might win and pull out this game the way Leonard was playing.
12-2 run for the Raptors. Kawhi, as Grant mentioned, scored 10 in a row during that stretch.
Yeah, he was going to work. I played with the big fundamental. This is the medium fundamental. I mean, he was going to work.
He's the extra quiet fundamental. Klay Thompson off a screen.
Oh, my God.
Knocks that
beautiful.
down. Thompson, 7 of 13 from three-point range. Steph, he knocked down 5 threes. This one didn't go. Cuz comes in. Because it happened with 1:59 left instead of 2:01, it's reviewable. They called basket interference and upheld it on review, which may be controversial in some circles. Steph, there's one of those 5 threes.
Man, that's tough.
That ties it. And then somehow Klay Thompson is all by himself.
Isaiah, you always talk about the pump fake. That pump fake got him a better, cleaner look that he knocked down.
But look at the pass. But look at the passing, Smitty. Iguodala, Green, hot potato right there. And as you said, nice little pump. You gotta honor that.
You gotta honor that one. That's the one you gotta jump out of the paint.
And again, it amazes me how often they get wide open on the three-point line in terms of execution.
I thought the Warriors' ball movement generally was better tonight. We got a backcourt violation. We had so many things going on here in the last couple of minutes.
Could have been a foul.
Yeah, it could have been that as well. Lowry passed Cousins. That's also called the goaltend. So Cousins picks up essentially goaltends on both ends of the floor. That one was upheld as well. And then an offensive foul on Cousins. So a rough couple of minutes here late for Cuz, despite doing yeoman's work for most of the night. And that's clearly an offensive foul on the screen.
Yeah, and you have to credit, you know, Jim Capers right there for making that call, calling the offensive foul, calling the moving screen. Too many times at the end of the game we see that situation not called.
Last possession,
is where Draymond Green was just, I mean, it was just impeccable defense. Iguodala coming over to help, forcing the ball out of Leonard's hand, and then Draymond making the help and recover play challenging the shot in the corner. Just beautiful championship closeout defense.
And he was credited with a block on that final play. It was kind of hard to tell. They knocked down 23, second most in NBA Finals history, and closed the gap. It's now a 3-2 Toronto lead, as Golden State has now won 7 of their last 9 in the postseason when facing elimination. Here's General Manager Bob Myers with injury updates on Durant, Looney, and whoever else might be hurt on this roster now.
So he'll take a couple from our local media only. We want to take care of the Bay Area media, those people who cover us all the time. So he'll start with an opening statement on KD and take a couple of questions, realizing we're not going to have more answers until tomorrow. So go ahead and start, Bob.
Kevin had it's an Achilles injury. I don't know the extent of it. He'll have an MRI tomorrow. Prior to coming back, he went through 4 weeks with our medical team, and it was thorough, and it was experts and multiple MRIs and multiple doctors. And we felt good about the process. He was cleared to play tonight. That was a collaborative decision. I don't believe there's anybody to blame, but I understand this world. And if you have to, you can blame me. I run our basketball operations department, and let me tell you something about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant loves to play basketball, and the people that questioned whether he wanted to get back to this team were wrong. And I'm not here to... He's one of the most misunderstood people. He's a good teammate. He's a good person. It's not fair. I'm lucky to know him. I don't know, I don't have all the information on what really, the extent of what it all means until we get an MRI. But the people that worked with him and cleared him are good people. They're good people.
Mark, first question in the front.
Bob, Mark, Medina Bay Area News Group. With all due respect, what's your reasoning to say to point the finger at you?
I am the president of basketball. If you have to. And I don't think there's anybody to blame, but I get it. That stuff happens. I hope nobody does. I don't think it should land on anybody, but if you feel like you need to.
Anything else?
Ann in the middle.
Ann Killian, San Francisco Chronicle. Can you just talk about Kevin's emotions and how he is feeling right now?
You know, sports is, it's people. Sports is people. I know Kevin takes a lot of hits sometimes, but he just wants to play basketball. And right now he can't. And basketball has gotten him through his life. So it means, I don't know that we can all understand how much it means to him. just wants to play basketball with his teammates and compete.
Last question. Chris over here on the left.
Chris Haynes, Yahoo Sports. Bob, to your left, over in the corner right here. Initially, you guys diagnosed him with a calf injury. Was that the pure, full-out extent? Was it a calf injury? Now, what happened tonight equated to an Achilles injury?
Yeah, the initial injury was a calf injury. This is not a calf injury. I'm not a doc. I don't know how those are related or not. But it's a different injury.
Thank you, Bob.
A really extraordinary media availability from President of Basketball Operations, Bob Myers. As for the nuts and bolts of it, he said Kevin Durant has an Achilles injury. They don't know the extent of it yet. He said he and the medical staff felt, quote, good about process and said it was a, quote, collaborative decision to clear Durant to play. And you heard the emotions of it as well. It's unlike anything I can recall seeing in the context of the NBA Finals. What did you come away with there?
Well, I've had this injury before. I actually tore my Achilles, and it was on a very similar move like that. And his reaction to it was the exact same one that many of us have had when we've torn our Achilles. And I also started out with a slight tear, and when it was diagnosed, I remember the trainer telling me that you're going to tear your Achilles at some point in time because you have a slight tear in it. Now, you can either play on it or you can rest it, but that slight tear is not going to heal. So, you come to the conclusion and the decision in your mind that, okay, I'm just going to go out and play on it. And when it tears, it just tears. And that's what happened to me. I don't know if this is what has happened here tonight, but I do understand the emotion of the president of Bob Myers in terms of what they've gone through, the journey that they've gone through over these years, the ups and the downs. And when one player gives his all and lays it all out on the line and puts it out for you, I mean, you can't ask for no more than that. And Kevin Durant did that for his team tonight.
Yeah, and I think Grant and Isiah, I mean, it's just so unfortunate because I know it was so much just build up, the pressure of playing, especially being down 3-1. I think this changes if it was 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not in the mind of a Kevin Durant or know anything information. I just think because of 3-1 elimination game, possibly for the Warriors, it makes you change because it's a brotherhood. You're on a team, you want to play, you're one of the best in the world, and you know you can make a difference what you did. And, and obviously, Grant, you've been through so much in situations like that. That was a tough call.
It is a tough call, and hearing both of you talk, and certainly Bob Myers, it brings back memories for me where, I wasn't obviously in the finals, but in the playoffs and had an injury, and it wasn't quite the collaborative effort. I mean, I'm sure KD had his people take a look at it, and doctors all sort of signed off before he was permitted to play, and that's just, I'm assuming, making that assumption that was the case, but we're basketball players.
Yeah.
And, I know for me, it sort of changed the trajectory of my career in terms of what I was able to accomplish. But, you live with regret. And I think as much as I regretted playing and putting myself through that, I probably would have regretted it more by not playing.
Yes.
And so I say that to say that a guy like Kevin Durant, you understand this is the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a chance to win another championship. You've been with these guys. Forget about the future. Forget about all the speculation that we all talk about in the media. You're in, as you said, it's a brotherhood. You're in here every day. This is family. You're going for a championship. So I know as bad as he feels right now, I know there's a feeling that, hey, you know what, I gave it my all, and there's a respect in that locker room that irrespective of what happens going forward, they will respect him for going out there, lacing it up, and as you said, leaving it all out there on the court.
Yeah.
Again, the
and
official,
we do.
No question.
We all do.
You know what? What's impressive? the Raptors did right when it happened.
Yes.
And that was, and they're in the finals as well.
Yeah.
And you can see the emotion that came over most of those players just because of the brotherhood, even though you're going against each other, what he just went through.
Lowry and others went to Kevin Durant. You saw some of the players also quieting down the crowd when they realized what was going on. Kevin Durant he left the building. There was going to be no media availability for him with the injury anyway, but he left the building and he has posted to Instagram, going to be loud as you know what for Game 6. I'm hurting deep in the soul right now, he wrote. I can't lie, but seeing my brothers get this win was like taking a shot of tequila. I got new life. Is that what tequila does?
In this case, yeah, he probably needs a couple of shots.
Some Sherlin champagne.
Yeah, he needs some. Yeah, exactly. Anything. But I respect what he's done, how he's going about doing it, and laying it all on the line. And as he said, he's hurt deep in his soul, because when you know it's the end, right? And you can't go out and play anymore that next day. There's no next practice for him, and it's going to be this Achilles injury. If it's what we think it is, it's a long recovery, and he's going to do it. But having it happen in the finals and not being able to continue on, I know it hurts him deeply. But his teammates respect him for doing it.
And for sure, I mean, no matter what, when you can't play this game anymore, whether it's 2 games, 3 games, because we laid so much and put so much into it, it hurts. And it's hard to describe. And people around you say, you just missed a couple games. It hurts.
Yeah.
I know it hurts a lot.
Well, and also, too, it's been 25 years since you hurt your Achilles. And I think, although it's a long, arduous recovery, I think assuming that's what it is, I think he'll be able to get back. I just think with technology, the way they operate, the way they rehab now, I think he'll get back to being an all-star superstar. It may take some time, but I think he'll get back to that level.
And he'll still get max this summer, right? He's still one of the all-time great players and one of the best on the planet. If you have to wait a little while longer, going to be plenty of teams lining up to give him a max contract this summer, regardless of what the diagnosis is. When we find out something maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. Klay Thompson, huge threes down the stretch along with his running mate Steph Curry. He is on his way to the desk, we're told, and we'll talk to him when we come back. Tonight's shot chart presented by Kaiser Permanente. The Splash Brothers were splashing a lot of red, including 12 of 27 from three-point range as the Warriors knocked down 23s. Green is a positive sign when you're looking at a shot chart there, including all 9 points in a finishing 9-2 run to win this Game 5 and survive the series. Klay Thompson joins us here on set. I don't even know where to start. There was so much stuff tonight packed into this game. How would you describe what just happened?
Well, I'll start with saying that I got nothing, and as every NBA fan should have nothing but respect for Kevin Durant. For him to come out here, put his health on the line to try and help us win a championship shows you what kind of competitor he is. And it was very deflating after the game just because we're going to miss him. And it's not the same not being out there competing with him. I think anyone would be happy to have him on their team, but running out on the floor tonight, we had a new sense of confidence getting our guy back. So it hurt to see him go down because we know how much he cares and how much he wants to be out here. So I'll start with that.
You guys actually outscored them the final 9:46 of the second quarter by a point immediately after he left the game. Can you describe the range of emotions that you and your teammates went through immediately as he walks off the floor?
Yeah.
What is said? What's going through your mind?
I hope he's all right. I hope it wasn't as serious as it looked. God, it sucked because he was doing everything in rehab to get back. And he's just such a competitor. But Steve told us at halftime, we all went up, dapped up K, and he told us we still got a job to do. And the way we responded, and we kind of used it to do it for him. He told us to go out there and win this game, and we did the job.
You guys have been in this situation so many times over the years, and it starts back, with OKC being down, 3-1, and then you come back and you play well and you win the series, and then you lose one against Cleveland. So the experience factor that you brought to tonight's game, having lost a 3-1 and then won a 3-1, and now you're in you're down 3-1 in the finals. How much did that experience help you coming into tonight's game?
Oh, it's huge. You saw we played with poise there, especially down the stretch. You know, I don't think a young team would have been able to do that down 6, 3 minutes left, their ball. A lot of teams would have folded. But when you got the firepower we do, we're never out of it. So, like we've said before, we've seen it all. We've seen the 3-1 lead blown. We've come back from 3-1 lead. We've been down 3-2. So we're lucky to play 100-plus playoff games and see all of it because nothing really phases at this point, and we kind of go back to the Bay feeling like we got a free shot.
Yeah.
Clay, you know, the game of basketball is really about momentum. And at that moment there where Kawhi hit 10 straight baskets, went on a 12-2 run, they got the lead, 3 minutes left. What was just going through your mind, personally, individually, and collectively as a team? Because it felt like they were kind of taking over there down the stretch, and obviously they didn't.
He was a beast there toward the end of the game, but we knew if it was going to be all on his shoulders, he was eventually going to get tired. And I think you saw in that short three-pointer he missed, and even on that last possession, Draymond did such a good job of coming to double, force it out of his hands, make someone else beat us. But I'm sorry, Grant, I kind of forgot what the question was.
I think you still answered it.
Just the thought process. Yeah.
Oh man, thought process.
No, so Andre came over doubled.
Yeah.
And then
it was Andre.
It was Andre, and then Draymond on the closeout.
That's 2 all-world defenders right there. So we're living with that shot, and I mean, it was just being down 6 points, whatever. There's a little self-doubt that creeps in, but when you see that you have Steph Curry, DeMarcus, myself, Andre, we've done this before, and that's how we remind ourselves that, and had a great end of the game on a great run.
Yeah.
Clay, you talked about this core group been through so many games, playoff experience, and y'all seen it all. But talk to me about DeMarcus Cousins. He's battled through injury for the last 2 years. Hasn't been in a lot of big-time playoff games. The performance he had after coming off 2 bad performances in Oakland, it says a lot about DeMarcus and what he brought to you guys
100%.
when KD went down.
He's such a load in the paint. He just wears on them, especially when he gets those big old boards. That was a tough goaltending call. I thought he timed that perfectly. And
we
you
did
saw
too.
And you see his skill around the rim, man. He's such a great finisher. We kind of missed this the last few years, so it's nice to have big fella back. And then for a 6'11", 280-pounder to shoot a 3 like that, it's unbelievable. When he's healthy, most skilled big man in the game. But although he hasn't been in a lot of playoff games, I've been in 2 gold medal games with him. So I've seen him at the highest level, and I've seen him dominate. So you just remind him of that. It's just basketball, what he's been doing his whole life.
So, Clay, here's the question that I think we all was marveling at. How do you and Steph get open on the three-point line? Because everyone comes in, the game plan is to stop you from shooting threes. But somehow you two find a way to get open, wide open, in crucial situations. What's your technique and what's your strategy around getting open at the three-point line?
Man, you got to use your big men. Draymond, DeMarcus, Bogut, they set menacing screens. And this team plays a big lineup, so we know if they're going to set a down screen, it's going to be Marcus Gasol or Ibaka, Siakam, one of the big guys closing out on us, and we already got advantage. Either shoot the ball, pump fake, go by him, make the play from the next man, and keep moving. I mean, you see it with Steph. He's so good at giving it up and getting it right back and just relocating the three-point line. And I've learned from him the same thing. And when we just have the floor space, we're running around, we're off these big guys, that's when you see the ball zipping around and you see great shots.
Hey, one more on KD before we let you go. I don't know if you saw it or not or have heard about it. Bob Myers had a very emotional press conference a few minutes ago, basically in tears talking about Kevin Durant. And he said, if you want to blame somebody, blame me. There's been a lot of discussion over the last few days about what you as teammates knew or didn't know and whether you were frustrated about the whole process. From where you sit, how was the decision-making and the recovery and the flow of information handled?
It was handled well. I don't think none of us were frustrated at Kevin. It just sucks being out here without your best player. So we've seen a lot of teams like this the last past few years. So we got a taste of it ourselves. So it hurts just knowing that we know we're a better team, but we're not healthy. And I just feel so bad because we were all so jacked up for him to come tonight. He gave us a whole new energy. And for this to happen just really sucks, man. It's so deflating. But I know Kevin. I know he's a competitor and he's a true professional. Basketball is first and foremost in his life. He's going to come back stronger. I know he is. He's still got so much good basketball left in him. But it's just really sucks, man. It's really hard. There's no happiness in this moment, honestly. It just sucks.
It's remarkable that you guys as a group were able to overcome it tonight and extend this series. One more game in Oracle. As you said, Oakland deserves one more. They're going to get one more on Thursday night.
The show.
Appreciate you stopping by.
No problem.
Klay Thompson with 26 in the Game 5 win. Warriors live to fight at least one more game here in the 2019 Finals. We'll hear from his splash mate, Steph Curry, next.
First question over here on the fourth row.
Steph, to your left. Paulo Antunes, ESPN. You guys just had one of the guttiest wins in recent memory here in the finals. Yeah, nobody's really celebrating. Can you just speak to like the family connection that you guys have? It was striking to see Bob Myers and Klay Thompson and Steve Kerr feeling so somber after such a great win. Can you speak to that, please?
Everybody gets so wrapped up in chasing championships and the greatness that you see on the floor, but life is more important in terms of caring about an individual and what they're going through on a daily basis. And you see the commitment and the challenges and just what's been thrown at KD, this whole year really. And he gave us what he had. He went out there and sacrificed his body, and you know how it turned out. So a part of our mentality and like the experiences, the shared experiences that we have as a team and what we've all been through, that's way more important than anything that happens out there, long term, anything that happens on the court. And I just feel so bad for him, to be honest. Like nobody should have to go through something like that, especially with this stage that we have.
Third row in the back.
Steph, Jonathan Cho with Dia TV. What did you say to KD after the injury, and what did he say to you?
Honestly, I don't know. It was a kind of an emotional moment all the way around. Something told me just to go back there, and I really don't know what I said or what he said. It's just sucks, man. Like, I don't really know what else to say about it, so that's it.
Ramona in the back.
Steph, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. Bob Myers was in here, and he said the people that questioned whether he wanted to get back were wrong. Kevin is one of the most misunderstood people. He's a good teammate, and I'm lucky to know him. What do you think Bob means when he says he's one of the most misunderstood people?
When you are on this level of greatness and everybody's kind of poking and prodding, trying to, narrate your story and tell you who you are, who you should be, what decisions you should make constantly over and over and over again. It's part of, what comes with this territory, but it's just when you get to know somebody and see how genuine they are and how committed they are just to playing basketball and having fun and living life a certain way, you root for those type of guys. And like you said, whatever his outward appearance is or whatever he says to the media or whatever, like, at the end of the day, the people that know him know what type of guy he is and, how special of an individual he is. So all those emotions come into it when you see him go down like that, where he's giving us everything he has. And it's not even about, this series, it's about long term. His mindset and being able to get back to the player and the person that he's shown, consistently over the course of his career.
Chris standing up.
A bittersweet night for Steph Curry and the defending champs, who still have a chance to make it a three-peat. They've extended this series to a Game 6 Thursday in Oakland. We're back with more from Toronto after this. Live at the NBA Finals, presented by YouTube TV, continues our post-game coverage from Toronto, where they're not celebrating quite yet, thanks to the Golden State Warriors. Here's Kyle Lowry's thoughts after Game 5.
we tried to get Kawhi to his right side. They doubled off of him. He swung it to Freddie, and Freddie had a look, and he threw it to me in the corner, and Draymond got a piece of it. He blocked him, and I'm not gonna miss it behind it. He got a little piece of it, but it was we probably could have got a little bit better, maybe, but we gotta look at it and see what we can get better at.
If Draymond doesn't get it, did it feel good out of your hands?
Yeah, I mean, it felt great out of my hands. You got a piece of it, so that's what great defenders do. You got a piece of it, and we'll continue to look at it and see how we can get better for next game.
Mark on the right.
Kyle, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. When Kevin went down in the second quarter, the fans reacted in a way that you didn't approve of. What was the moment like in the arena when it happened? How did it affect emotionally the rest of the game from that point?
Well, I think, I don't think the fans knew the, significance of the injury. They kind of just seen him went down. And, in this league, we're all brothers. At the end of the day, we're all brothers, and it's a small brotherhood. And, you never want to see a competitor like him go down. And you don't know what the circumstances are. And, for me, it was just, listen, we don't want anything to ever happen like that. We don't know what's, with this or that. So, I just kind of, we don't want that type of stuff. And you know what? It didn't change much emotionally. It was just after he went down, and, we got on and, finished the game.
Tonight's big time play of the night is brought to you by DXL, built to fit, built to XL. It's that final Warriors defensive possession.
Great possession here. Kawhi Leonard at the top, and I love Andre Iguodala just leaves his man and goes to double team on the drive. Great help there by Iguodala. And look down below, Draymond Green, two people. He's guarding Gasol and Lowry. Poor spacing offensively for the Raptors. And as the ball spins out, Gasol, he could have just opened up right there. Isaiah had a layup. He sets the screen the wrong way, and Draymond makes that great contest and block shot. Great defensive execution, poor execution for Toronto. And as Klay Thompson talked about, it's about making those plays down the stretch in the moment, and Golden State made the right play.
And there's visual proof of what Lowry was just talking about. He did get a fingertip, maybe two, on that ball and redirected it.
But I also think as time score in basketball, you're not down three. I think if you're Marc Gasol, whether who's taking a shot, after you try to set one screen, you're going to the basket. It makes Draymond Green has to take one more step towards you or hesitation, and I don't think he gets the chance to block the shot on Kyle Lowry. But we're so much trying to shoot a three now, where everybody's thinking three, where Marc Gasol should have got himself down in the paint, and then I think that'll clear room for Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I mean, as Grant and you said, I mean, Draymond is guarding two people. Now, the most important thing is you got to get spacing. So instead of Gasol trying to set a screen, big men traditionally were taught to go stand in front of the basket. Now, if you stand in front of the basket, you're down one. Now that defenders really got to make a decision. Either he's going to not let you have the layup in front of the basket, and if he stops that, then he won't have time to close out on Lowry, who was for sure, in his mind, going to knock down the three. Now, the thing that I like about what Lowry has done also in this series, I mean, there's been two big moments that he's had. One with the owner, the minority owner of Golden State, the way he handled that situation, with the minority owner, and also, with the fans and the kids and everything, saying, hey, this is a teaching moment. And then the second moment, I thought here, the way he handled the crowd, the way he handled this, injury that happened with Durant. I mean, two big personal, growing moments where he showed maturity in tough situations.
A lot for the Raptors to think about over the next couple of days. For the Warriors, they get out of here with a win. They got a huge boost tonight from DeMarcus Cousins. Remember, playing in his first finals and just returned from injury a few days ago. Comes off the bench in the wake of the Durant injury and goes for 14 and 6 in just under 20 minutes worth of work. He, of course, also knows all about the Achilles injury and recovery from it, the likes of which Durant may be facing. Here are his thoughts after tonight's Game 5 win.
Just a lot of things that transpired over the past couple of days, and I've just used it as motivation, so leave it at that.
The grit that this team showed to persevere on the road and get this one despite everything that went down.
What about it?
can touch on the grit that this team has?
Team full of heart. Simple as that. The fighters, it's our DNA, and we're going to go down fighting. Period.
Bob Myers was crying on the podium as he talked about KD. What kind of care does this organization show for its players?
It's obviously they care. It's bigger than basketball here. Outside of these lines, we're human beings just like everybody in this room. We go through things. We have life crises. We have emotions. We have up and downs. It's just when we get in between those lines, we have to zone out all of that and become these superstar athletes. So with that being said, they know us outside of the lines. They know the everyday struggles. They know the adversity and the ups and downs we go through on a daily basis. So with that being said, he's feeling for the guy. It's not about basketball. It's about everything else. The shit that y'all don't care about.
What do you think about the people who question KD's heart and how long it was taking him to return?
Fuck them. Fuck them.
Some of the fans cheering when he went down.
Trash. So trash. But like I said, we only idolize as superstar athletes, not human beings. It's always about what we can do between those lines. That's it. That's all that ever matters.
Emotions running high. Defiant DeMarcus Cousins there answering questions about Kevin Durant and about the win tonight. Smitty.
But before you go there, again, emotions are running high.
For sure.
And I think if you can just give some, just some clarity in terms of what may be going on in that locker room with, one of their players injured, friends injured, human beings, tough situation, everything else, having to win this game. So you're not going to get a very poised person coming to the mic right now after this situation. So to everybody's watching right now, don't judge them.
There's a lot going on right now.
It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on.
To add, Isiah, we're speculating. If it's Achilles, he went through this same exact injury, if it's the same Achilles. So there's a lot of emotions. You go through this, you could have been going home, and also you see Kevin Durant go down with possibly Achilles injury, and he just suffered that. There's a lot with the Warriors right now.
There's been a lot, and that's what I was going to ask you, not only emotionally and tactically now. Kevon Looney was lost for tonight. Who knows what his status is? So they got thinner again tonight. Other than Oakland, where do we go from here?
I think it just comes down to heart. I mean, we keep saying next man step up.
But what if you ain't got no more men?
They're running out of men.
But I will say Quinn Cook and all those guys, the numbers are not great, Grant Hill, from all the things they've done, but they've stepped up in big moments for the Golden State Warriors.
They really have. And Smith, I'll just say for both teams, I thought after game 2, I thought Golden State had the momentum, and then Toronto went out there, and obviously Clay was hurt in game 3, had a great game 4. And then all of a sudden, Golden State kind of brings it back, and they come here and have a great win. I don't know what's going to happen again. I think it's going to come down to, as you said, what team has more heart, more desire. Can Toronto bounce back from this disappointment? Everyone here, we've been here for the last couple of days. Everyone was sort of expecting, assuming it was going to happen tonight. And how does that locker room, how do they respond? How do they bounce back? Do they have the grit and toughness, which I think they do? Should be an interesting game 6.
You get the last word.
I think Toronto wins game 6. Again, no Durant, and then you have other, you got Looney hurt. But even if Looney's not hurt, with no Durant, I think Toronto is the better basketball team. Now with Durant, what we saw, Golden State is the best team. But with no Durant, I'm looking at Toronto to close it out game 6 in Golden State.
I think it's remarkable what Golden State was able to do tonight, withstanding that blow, the emotions, and just the reality of him not being on the floor. He just changes the spacing. Everything is different when Durant is out here, and obviously he's not going to be available.
Well, as a basketball fan, I want to see Game 7.
Sure, absolutely. That would be great. That would be great. Love to be back here for Game 7.
Game 7 now.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. That'll do it for us. Zeke, Smitty, Grant, I'm Matt. Jarrett Greenberg and 3D Dennis Scott are
Hey, Matt, great job
by.
tonight.
Hey, thank you.
No, really.
Appreciate it.
You was handling it tonight. Great job.
I appreciate that. That's nice of you to say.
I do what I can.
They're the guys. They're ready to go. They'll take
3D.
you home when we come back.
Sideline short.
Curry pushing it up. Van Vliet in pursuit. Iguodala back out to Green. Thompson, one fake, one dribble, one shot. Got it! Golden State retakes the lead. 6 seconds remaining. Leonard back up Van Vliet. Van Vliet kicks it out Lowry. Lowry for the win. Won't go. And there'll be a game 6 in Oakland.
A bittersweet win for the Warriors, getting Kevin Durant back and then quickly losing him to an Achilles injury. Live from Scotiabank Arena, welcome to the late post-game show where we tell you what's happening as it's happening right now around the NBA. I'm Jared Greenberg. Here's the 5 things you need to know from Game 5 in Toronto. The dynasty not dead yet. Golden State lives to play a Game 6. Down 6 with 3 minutes to go. The Dubs finished the game on a 9-2 run. All 9 coming from the Splash Brothers. 12 good minutes. That's all the Warriors got Monday night from Kevin Durant, and perhaps they'll get from him in the rest of the 2019 NBA Finals. In those 12 minutes, Durant did score 11. We'll have more on him in a moment. Kawhi's takeover attempt. The best player in the world was just 4 for 15 from the field entering the fourth. Then in the final period, he nearly single-handedly won the Raptors a title. During one stretch, Kawhi scored 10 straight for the Raptors. Live by the 3, die by the 3. One game, 2 totally different outcomes behind the line for each squad. The Warriors made nearly 48% of their threes, hitting 20 of them. Meanwhile, the Raptors were just 8 for 32 from distance. Draymond on the brink of suspension. Monday night, he received his 6th technical foul of the playoffs. And if Draymond picks up his 7th tech in Game 6, and if the Warriors are to win Thursday, Draymond would be suspended for Game 7. But the big storyline around tonight's game is the status of Kevin Durant, and should he have played? A very emotional president of basketball operations, Bob Myers, took the podium to address all of the issues.
Kevin had it's an Achilles injury. I don't know the extent of it. He'll have an MRI tomorrow. Prior to coming back, he went through 4 weeks with our medical team, and it was thorough, and it was experts and multiple MRIs and multiple doctors. And we felt good about the process. He was cleared to play tonight. That was a collaborative decision. I don't believe there's anybody to blame, but I understand this world. And if you have to, you can blame me. I run our basketball operations department. And let me tell you something about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant loves to play basketball, and the people that questioned whether he wanted to get back to this team were wrong. And I'm not here to... He's one of the most misunderstood people. He's a good teammate. He's a good person. It's not fair. I'm lucky to know him. I don't know, I don't have all the information on what really, the extent of what it all means until we get an MRI. But the people that worked with him and cleared him are good people. They're good people.
That is obviously a very emotional Bob Myers, the president of basketball operations. Warriors win. They trail the series 3-2. 3D, Dennis Scott, I'm Jared Greenberg. So what did you take from what Bob Myers had to say, clearly coming to the defense of Kevin Durant the organization, the medical staffs that all cleared Durant to play for this game after missing more than a month?
I think the biggest thing, Jared, I applaud Bob for stepping up and saying what he just said. Secondly, I agree with that all the people, the naysayers, the blogs that say that Kevin Durant didn't want to play, this is going to put a damper on his legacy. I was just like, really, people? Is this the way the new world is? But happy Bob stepped up. He came out and played. Now he's hurt. Now the Warriors have to figure out how emotionally can they overcome this for the next 48 hours and come out ready to play for Game 6, knowing that the Raptors have played well on the road in this playoffs. But once again, Bob Myers, I applaud you stepping up because I agree with you. I know Kevin Durant's a great person, and I know he loves the game no more than any other athlete that's ever laced up a pair of tennis shoes.
Again, to be clear, a lot of what Bob Myers was addressing there was probably stemming from a story that we discussed on yesterday's show that was written by Sam Amick, the great Sam Amick of The Athletic. And Sam wasn't editorializing. He was giving quotes from unnamed sources within the locker room who were saying there was a growing irritation because they simply didn't understand why Durant hadn't been playing. So clearly those reports were coming out. They weren't being made up by reporters. People within the organization were whispering to reporters that they were confused by the situation.
Yes, and all those whispers, I hope they're still ready to whisper now if they're still feeling the same way, because now he's done for the year. Now you have to wait and see what the MRI comes back, how bad the tear is, how deep the tear is will determine how much more rehab and how long it will take. I tore my Achilles, Jared, obviously I was retired. I wasn't worth anything anymore, but he's still trying to get a 5-year deal, and all this talk, he may leave now. So all that conversation changes until the MRI comes back, and then he and Bob Myers have to sit down and have a serious conversation again about being a part of the Warriors.
Bob Myers, we just played a short portion of it. He would go on to say, just to clarify, that the original injury, again, was just a calf injury. This is not a calf injury. There is some speculation about the financial aspect of all of this. We do, have to consider that is a big part of why this was such a big story here, because Kevin Durant was going to be a free agent this summer. But let's call a spade here. Kevin Durant is either the best or second best player in the world, depending on how you want to put him. Maybe Kawhi Leonard's earning that title now. There are 30 NBA teams that would be willing to pay Kevin Durant as much money as they were legally allowed to pay him, even with this injury that he did suffer tonight, which may, if indeed it is an Achilles heel, a tear, would not only keep Durant out the rest of this series, he would more than likely have to miss all of next season.
And that means if you're one of those teams that only can offer him a 4-year deal, so that means you only get him for 3 years. Right. And now if the Warriors have that conversation, they're the only team that can offer him that 5th year. So it's going to be very, very dicey conversations now as this finals ends up. And then now he has to sit back. Yep. He and his agent, Rich Line, sit back. Kleiman, and say, wow, what do you really want to do, Kev? Because once Kevin tells him what he wants to do, then business starts.
So again, bittersweet. Kevin Durant. We'll wait for the MRI results tomorrow, but it doesn't look good. No. Warriors do win without Durant, except for those 12 minutes that he was able to be on the court. Now they go back home for Game 6 on Thursday. For what the mood is like in that Warrior locker room after losing their best player, here's Kristen Ledlow.
I'm outside of the Warriors locker room where the team is somber despite the win. After Kevin Durant left the arena on crutches and in a walking boot, General Manager Bob Myers was clearly emotional as he addressed the media. He said, "It's an Achilles injury. I don't know the extent of it yet, but he will have an MRI tomorrow. The initial injury was a calf injury. This is not a calf injury." Bob went on to say that KD is a good teammate, he's a good person, and it's not fair. Both Steph Curry and Andre Iguodala helped Kevin Durant off the floor, and Steph said everybody gets so wrapped up in chasing championships, but life is more important in terms of caring for individuals, and he gave us what he had. Andre added that it's bigger than basketball. In other injury news, Kevon Looney will continue to rest and rehab over the next 48 hours, and he confirmed that his playing time will continue to be based on how he's feeling.
All right, great stuff from Kristen Ledlow. Looney was clearly playing through pain when he was on the court here on Monday night. Back with 3D Dennis Scott. How does this team, who you heard Klay Thompson on with the guys down on the court just a couple of moments ago, they were clearly they're shook by this KD injury, and they were able to win this game. Like that is their job. They have to go out and do that. But now the reality may set in that Kevin Durant's not probably coming back.
I love their focus the last 3 minutes of ball game. Steph and Klay hit huge shots, the rebounds, the defense. But to your point, they'll be with KD tonight because they're staying overnight versus the last time they flew all night long. They were a little tired for Game 3 for that matter. that mood in the hotel tonight. Everyone's going to be in Kevin Durant's room supporting him and saying, we appreciate you trying. And they're going to do everything possible. But to your point, Jared, the reality is you're not going to get those 12 minutes. You're not going to get those 3 threes he made. He's gone now. And the Raptors have proven that with him now on the floor, they can go in your building and beat you.
Nick Nurse said it after the game at the podium that he felt like his players, he singled out Kyle Lowry. They were affected by Kevin Durant's injury because, as Nick Nurse said, now nobody on the Warriors side said this, so this was an interesting comment coming from the opposing team's head coach. He said he heard from the players on his team that they felt like Kevin Durant tore something. Again, that has not been confirmed by anybody. However, Nick Nurse felt like his players had a mental break there because they were shook by what happened.
Great question, Jen. Also, we can go back and look at that video. It was the only time I was a little disappointed in Raptor fans. They were actually booing and laughing and applauding, cheering. So that was the only thing disappointing. And you saw Kyle Lowry and Serge Ibaka kind of go like this to calm down the fans that, no, this is a serious injury. He's one of the best players. So it's more of a player thing taken up for another player. So I understand where Nick Nurse is going. But Serge Ibaka and definitely Kyle Lowry was trying to calm down the fans because they were booing.
106-105, a 1-point thriller. There was basketball played, and without Kevin Durant, the Warriors were able to earn a win in Game 5, staving off elimination. How did the Warriors get it done without Kevin Durant? 3D's coming back with us live from Scotiabank Arena to show you what Steve Kerr's squad did, led by the Splash Brothers, putting on a show over the final 3 minutes of the game. The Late Late Show rolls on live from Scotiabank Arena. Back on the Late Late Show, live from Scotiabank Arena, where the Splash Brothers carried the Warriors to a Game 5 victory, extending the series. A 1-point lead, a 1-point game. Clay, Steph, they were down 6, rallied late. The two combined to hit 12 threes. Maybe the bigger number is the number of attempts. Clay was 7 of 13. Steph Curry, 5 of 14. Kyle Lowry said that's just way too many looks to give the best two shooters in the world. 3D, these two, they got loose tonight. How were they able to get so many looks at the three ball when clearly, especially once Durant went down, the Raptors knew this had to be the game plan?
Well, I think Isiah Thomas calls it perfect randomness, where they move well out the basketball, they keep moving. The other night when Steph Curry was 6 of 14 from the free throw line, three-point line, is moving, getting good screens, you rise up and knock it down. And the same thing with Clay. When both of those guys are moving, they know I will continue to move. Kyle Lowry, you turn your back. Van Fleet, you're too close to the lane. Steph Curry runs to the corner, knocks down a three. This is when Isiah talks about the perfect randomness. Here you go. You have Draymond Green at the top. One screen set, poor communication. Just watch how Steph Curry comes off the screen, steps into the three, leaves it, and knocks it down. Now the focus is really kicked in, Jared, because now we know Kevin Durant's not coming back. We need buckets. We need more focus. You got to have great space, and Kyle Lowry left too early. Pump fake, let the man run by you. And Klay Thompson, leave it, shooter's paradise in full effect. Unbelievable with great movement, great spacing, and good screen setting. You think with DeMarcus Cousins had that one little moving screen down the stretch. It didn't deter them, and they didn't get upset. They kept running their offense and kept setting better screens. You knocked down wide open shots.
We knew coming into this game the series would turn out to be historic. Either we would have our first champion on international soil, or the Warriors would put together an epic comeback for the ages and win this after being down 3-1. And now we have two guys clearly in the running for Finals MVP. We'll talk about Kawhi in a moment, but Steph Curry, how good he has been night in and night out in this series.
Sticking with what he does best. And he understands the ball will find him, never standing still. That 1-3 where he steps behind the line and goes in, we wouldn't for sure if that was a 2 or a 3. So once again, he shows you that this offense can still run well if everyone's down on the floor. He shows you he gets a layup. He doesn't just settle for the 3. Plays like this lets me understand Steph Curry is going to play the game the right way because the flow of the game will still get him around the three-point line. Putting the ball on the floor, knowing the big guys will set good screens for him. And once again, that last shot right there. When he comes off that screen, the big man doesn't show properly, you knock it down.
Curry, 31 points. He's now averaging 32.5 points over the 5-game series. Let's talk about some of the other members of the Warriors. Interesting decision on how Steve Kerr played his rotations early on. Obviously, Kevin Durant goes into the starting lineup, so the natural guy to come out was DeMarcus Cousins, who had started the last few games since returning from his quad injury. And DeMarcus came in struggling over the last couple, and he clearly went down the pecking order on the bench. So with Durant in the starting lineup, the first big off the bench was Looney, then it was Bogut, and then Cousins didn't come in until Kevin Durant got hurt. What did you see from DeMarcus Cousins?
Well, I think cutting his minutes back and not having him start made him calm down a little bit, Jared. So then when his name was called, knocks down a shot, gets a layup, gets a couple rebounds, a couple plays, didn't have a lot of lift, but played a better game by taking some of that pressure off of him by making him a starter. So once again, Steve Kerr did an excellent job tweaking a few things, bringing in more livelier bodies, and you got more out of Cousins tonight.
Now, this is if you want to look at the pure numbers and say, clearly DeMarcus Cousins had a good game. But I would have to imagine in the video session, they're going to look at the fourth quarter where DeMarcus Cousins had some crucial errors that nearly cost the Warriors a game. Yes, we can look at how many points he scored and how many rebounds he grabbed, but over the course of 3 possessions, DeMarcus Cousins had 2 goaltend calls, had an offensive, it was called for an illegal screen, and he kept on giving the ball back to the Raptors when Klay and Steph were doing everything in their power to win the game.
The biggest one you're talking about is the move and screen. Trying to go the defensive goaltender, they're not mad at that because that's effort. It might have been a second late. The offensive one, you're like, that was so close, but you don't want to take away the effort on those plays. It's the defensive one they're going to really show, and along with that move and screen. Those are the 2 plays that really hurt them. The effort when blocking shots, going around the rim, keep that there.
As Kristen Ledlow told us, Looney's status is now going to be up in the air. Who do you think is the 5th starter for the Warriors, assuming Durant is not available and we don't know what's going on with Looney?
Maybe Bogut, because he was the second guy to come off the bench tonight. Do you go with more speed, maybe with Bell? Or does he go back to Damian Jones like he did back in the Portland series? The fact is you have so many options to go with. I think you go with more speed, more athleticism.
All right, let's talk about the Raptors side of things, who had the opportunity tonight several times to look like win this game when it appeared that they were dead, or in that third quarter after the Warriors did a nice job there. But here comes Kawhi. He was struggling all night long. First 3 quarters, nothing, even little bunnies for Kawhi weren't going down. And then it came clutch time, and here comes Kawhi Leonard.
Gets the big stop, he gets the big rebound, dribbles the ball down the court, knocks down the big 3. The crowd goes crazy. You're saying to yourself, this is the time you have to jump on him. This is the time. That's the big rebound right there. When that put back right there, Jared, then he comes down, he knocks down the 3. I said, this crowd's about to go crazy. Jurassic Park, you can hear them roaring from outside. But then they couldn't get over the hump, Jared. I think the turnover by Marcus hurt him, but Kawhi Leonard was like, not tonight. I'm trying to put you guys on my back and get over the hump. But that Warrior defense, Jared, after that little run right there, the Warrior defense got a couple stops. And this is the part where you try to say for the Raptors, how can you overcome this?
Right.
Because you wouldn't do this at home. We know what you've done in games 3 and 4, but this was a golden opportunity to handle your business.
Remember, Kawhi Leonard had that masterful offensive performance in Game 4. Didn't have a single turnover. He had 5 miscues in the first 3 quarters of Game 5 on Monday night. But it came down to that final possession where the Raptors had the basketball, they had a timeout in their pocket, and they were down by 1. Kawhi, why didn't you take the final shot?
Take us through that final possession again. A lot of people on social media especially, and a lot of us watching, are wondering why you didn't take that final shot.
I mean, 2 guys came up on me. You know, I don't know if I could have got a shot off. It's hard. I mean, if you got 2 guys on top of you, you have to try to find the right play. We ended up getting a shot in the corner, but it just didn't go off quick enough.
Go ahead on the right side in the front.
Kawhi, Valeria Rubino, V-Sport. What kind of leader are you trying to be for this team? What did you tell your guys in the locker room to keep their confidence up?
Just pretty much just fight through the adversity. It's not going to be easy. Stay confident. We know we could win, and that's it. I'm not going to say everything, but, those are the main key points.
On the right side, and then Tristan in the front.
Uygar Askan, Turkish television. Did you guys execute to the game plan that was designed pre-game? Started out kind of slow, I thought, maybe caught up in the fourth quarter. Were you guys getting the shots that you guys wanted, or do you think they changed the defensive scheme on you guys?
I think a couple of us were playing a little bit too fast on the offensive end. But, we scored 28 points in the first quarter. Could have played a little bit better defense. Guys were getting open shots. You know, I guess nerves probably settled down from there, and we started to play a little bit better basketball. But, I mean, we're going against a great team. They know that they wasn't going to quit.
Last one here in the front.
Rick, USA Today. Just wanted to kind of touch on that point that you made. You specifically mentioned that you hope KD can recover from this emotionally. As someone who's faced an injury like that, what kind of range of emotions were you going through? What kind of toll does it take on you when you go through that?
I think he will recover from it. You know, we're saying just like, I hope he's keeping his spirits up through it. I know he's going to get through it. He's a great basketball player. He wants to come out and, you know, be a great player, Hall of Fame player. But it just, you know, the simple fact that you're just hurt, like I was saying, and you want to get out and play, but you really got to just take your time and be patient and let the weeks and months go by. But I'm not sure what his injury is right now. You know, I pray for him and, you know, hope that he has a Godspeed recovery.
Thank you, Kawhi.
Okay, well, it is an Achilles injury, and again, Bob Myers saying that there will be an MRI on Tuesday. We hope to have more then at that time, but we take you to the social moments part of our show, and clearly the only thing that's on the mind of anybody on NBA Twitter right now is the injury to Kevin Durant. Obviously, players pouring in support all around the NBA.
No, it's a wonderful thing. D-Wade, Karl-Anthony Towns, a lot of different NBA players who are watching the finals are pouring out for KD. There's Trae Young. I mean, everyone that knows KD, a lot of Olympic teammates have chimed in. We know he loves basketball. We know he's a gym rat. So the Victor Oladipo, he's going through rehab from his knee. It's just a tough thing because we never want to see a guy get hurt. So for all those guys and gals out there that have you little the Nurkic, he's recovering from an injury. Right. So it's fun to see the basketball world watching.
Well, let's be honest. This is our social media portion of the show, so let's talk about what's going on right now on social media. There's a huge debate on NBA Twitter right now about whether the organization let him down or whether Durant could have gotten hurt further, right? Like, clearly he got hurt more than he was coming into this game, right?
Yes.
There's no debate about that.
There's no debate there at all.
But Steve Kerr had been saying in the days leading up to him getting cleared to play that he was told by the medical staff if they were going to let him play, it would be a situation where he couldn't get hurt any worse.
Yeah, so that's why as we finish up this series, a lot of speculation is going to go on and some more news will come out. We did a show yesterday here, and Steve Smith and I said he should not play. Every doctor we had talked to said this is a 6 to 8 week injury. You can rehab, you can play 2-on-2, but the way, remember you and I were talking, and I said the way we extend once you start playing, you forget about your injury. He knocked down his first 3 threes, the lather, the sweat. He felt good. He forgot he was injured. He extended, and that's when we all said, we go like that again, something's wrong. This time he sat down, Jared, he didn't grab his calf. He grabbed his Achilles. So we know it's going to definitely be the Achilles. How severe will it be is the question.
Do you think there's regret that he played?
Yes. Come on. We're talking about, listen to me. Kevin Durant wanted to play so bad, so as each week went by, the body started feeling better and better. But deep down inside, we all said, not that. This is still too soon. 32 days. 32 days from the injury. And you can do all the rehab, all the extend. It's not like playing in a game 5 on that floor down there. Yeah. So that's why we're trying to get people to understand. So for all those naysayers that say he didn't love to play, well, I hope you're happy now because he proved to you he loved to play, but he had to sacrifice the injury for it now.
Preach.
Hey, I'm done now.
He is 3D Dennis Scott. I'm Jared Greenberg. This is the Late Late Show, and we've got more coming up, including what we'll be talking about tomorrow. Take a guess. It has a little something to do with Kevin Durant. We're coming back live from Toronto, where the Warriors have picked up a second win in this series.
Boogie Cousins has just committed an offensive foul. Toronto has a timeout left to use, but they elect not to use it and instead call a set play. And I think everyone feels the ball's going to go to Kawhi Leonard. Let's take a look at what happens now. We roll it forward, trying to get the ball to Leonard, which they do. And let's freeze it right there for a second. Van Vliet will fade over to become a shooter. You've got Danny Green on this side of the floor and Steph Curry guarding him. The key part of this comes when Lowry starts to go underneath Marc Gasol as he's running out. Iguodala, terrifically smart defensive player, figures I'm going to let Draymond play two people. And now, as Kawhi starts in the isolation, Iguodala talks. Stop it right here. Iguodala knows he's a free agent. Draymond Green has two players here. You're going to stay home with the shooter, Danny Green, and you're going to stay home up on top with Van Vliet, who's make big shots. And as Kawhi starts to put it on the floor, this is when you'll see all of a sudden Iguodala making his move to double team hard. Here's the pass out, and playing two people. Green waits for the pass, leaves Gasol, blocks the shot. Incredible effort.
The NBA Finals Film Room, presented by YouTube TV, offers an in-depth look at each game of the NBA Finals. Join Rick Kamla, Greg Anthony, the czar, who you just heard Mike Fratello breaking it down, along with Wes Wilcox for a breakdown of Game 5. It airs Tuesday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, only right here on NBA TV. Let's go back to the highlight and break this one down for you. We'll get you some more sound to get you to tomorrow's headlines coming up here in a moment. Kevin Durant played. It had been just over a month since he last played. Calf injury, second round, Game 5, and he's dancing.
Dancing, looking good. That little extension right there probably made him feel good, Jared.
All right, so here comes Durant early on. Kevin got it going. KD, 3 for 3 to start the game from three-point.
Catch and shoot, Jared. Staying in the flow of the game, putting the ball on the floor, getting to your sweet spot, and knocking it down, looking good early.
While Durant was doing scoring, so was Steph Curry. Curry scored 7 of the Dubs' first 13 points. Tough moment here, and this is the one everyone's talking about. Starts to make his move to the basket, and that may end Kevin Durant's season right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jared, we've been talking about it as he was coming back. It's hard to simulate game. You see that extension right there, and right when he comes back to plant, that's when they showed the, right there. Look at that right leg. You see it buckle right there, Jared.
Before he left, Durant scored 11 points in 12 minutes. Warriors needed those points. Let's go to the second quarter now after Durant would leave. And again, MRI set for Tuesday. We'll continue talking about it and get you up to speed on everything you need to know about Kevin Durant's status moving forward. All right, so Durant to the locker room here.
Iguodala, Steph Curry runs off there to help out as well.
There's an Achilles injury. Let's go second quarter here. Steph Curry, who scored a tremendous 14 in the first quarter, gets it going here in the second quarter.
The Under-16 World Championship.
Now Kawhi Leonard, who struggled throughout this game, a rare early bucket from Kawhi. At the half, it was 62-56. Warriors leading the Raptors.
That shot right there, you're like, how does he know where the line is, Jared? Big time three.
Then here comes Klay Thompson. Klay using the window and the rim as his friend. Raptors go on a 10-0 third quarter run. Kyle Lowry fakes and he makes the layup.
Strong move, under control, kept DeMarcus Cousins off balance.
So while all that was happening, Kevin Durant underneath the arena, walking out on crutches with a walking boot on his right leg. Warriors in the lead, but then here comes the Kawhi takeover. He only had 14 points in the first 3 quarters. Fourth quarter, the claw.
Big time play there. Like Lowry passing off. Then here comes the claw. There he is, Jared. Stops and pops in transition. At this point in the game, you say he's going to take over, and the rest of the country is about to go crazy, Jared.
More from Kawhi. He was just tremendous, scoring 10 straight in that stretch there for the Raptors. They led it 103-97, but then the game would turn again. The Splash Brothers taking over. Klay getting free. He gets the bottom of the cup there. It's a 3-point game. Now 2 minutes to play. DeMarcus Cousins on the putback. Couple of angles looked like the ball left the cylinder. But then on a couple of other angles, it looked like the ball was still in the cylinder.
Yeah, still there just a tad bit. Unfortunate play for Cousins, showing some good effort down the stretch.
So it was offensive goaltending. Wipe it off. It's still a 3-point lead for the Raptors. That is until Steph Curry ties the game. Minute to go. Back to Klay. Splash Brothers. It is soaking wet in Toronto.
Leave it.
3-point lead for Golden State. Now Curry passes to Draymond Green. He's called for the backcourt violation. We'll get to there in a moment, I promise.
They showed the nice replay. They had to show that spacing, Jared. They had to show how far the rotations were. And now here you go, Jared.
There we go. Sloppy ending here. Mentioned the goaltend on DeMarcus Cousins. The backcourt violation here on Draymond. Kyle Lowry here with the Raptors down by 3 drives. And then Cousins called for the goaltend again. So while his numbers may look good, it was a difficult finish to the game for DeMarcus Cousins. Warriors, Cousins called for an offensive foul, illegal screen.
Yes, easy call. Jeff Van Gundy got that right on the point. Cuz did not wait for Steph to come off the screen first.
All right, so the Raptors get the ball back. They're down by 1. Clearly they're going to Kawhi, but the Warriors defense knows that as well.
Yeah, you know that as well. Great rotation. Draymond Green, Defensive Player of the Year before. All defense shows why he's on that list every year, Jared.
Interesting decision to go for 3 there.
No, well, I think it was more of the defense of Iguodala going to double team with spacing. That's why swing, you're in the corner for a 3. You maybe had another second, maybe you pump fake, maybe go for the floater.
So the Warriors get a bittersweet win. They force a Game 6, which will be Thursday back in the Bay. So we still have one more game at Oracle before they close the building down. It will be the final game ever in Game 6. Here's Andre Iguodala after the Dubs' big win, but yet they suffered a big loss with Kevin Durant's Achilles injury.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a good answer. I mean, I've always said how I feel about my teammates, so it's more than basketball. But no one wants to understand that part, you know, they only care about the game. So, you know, it's hard for me to express it because no one respects it.
I think it's because we've never seen it. So few have ever seen it. Can you describe that moment that you all shared in such a low one?
I mean, it's just like being a human being. Like, you know, I consider everybody that I've ever played with a family member. So, I mean, like, it goes so much further than basketball. Like, I always say that, and it might sound cliche or just sound so simple, but it's so much deeper than, you know, playing basketball for money, and all that goes into the machine. And you're really in a fantasy world, and it takes away from you having feelings or being able to express yourself as far as loving another human being. So, you know, it's simple to me.
Well, tomorrow is today, so let's look at what we'll be talking about all on Tuesday as you and I travel back out to the Bay 3D. The first one, should KD have played? Did we see KD for the last time in a Warrior uniform? And can these Warriors overcome the emotion of losing KD? We've discussed at length whether KD should have played or not.
First question is no. Second question is no. And the last one is maybe.
So you believe that Kevin Durant, this injury, whether it has impact or not,
I've always been on the other side.
You believe he's coming back?
Before the injury and all the naysayers, I've never felt that he was one to leave. I've never believed all of these naysayers, this, naysayers, that. Because if that was so true, why would guys like Iguodala speak like he just spoke? Right. Why would they all just run to why would Steph Curry run to the locker room the way he did? Why would Quinn Cook and all these guys after the game, like, really with long faces because it's...
But come on, let's be honest. Those things are not mutually exclusive. They could feel bad for a guy who may have suffered a year-long injury, and he could also leave.
Jared, as a guy that's been in the locker room my whole life, I don't see it that way. I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
You loved Shaq, and he left you.
Yes, but my point is, and we're still boys to this day.
Right.
So, in totally two different situations too. So my point is, no one in our locker room never said Shaq wanted to leave because we didn't like him. And so when people say they don't like Kevin Durant, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that.
I think right. I understand what you're saying, but there still is the possibility that he may not play a game in a Warrior uniform.
Obviously, because who he is, when guys become free agents, yes, everyone can leave. But because he's arguably the best player in the world, that's probably talk about it more. I'm talking about all these wishes about this and that in the locker room. He's that with. if he's that disliked, it don't match what I see every day. It just don't match to me.
I got you. So Kevin Durant again, the MRI on Tuesday. We'll have much more on that. We've got much more coming up here on the Late Show.
Late Show, baby.
Klay Thompson tonight, 7 of 13 from downtown, scoring 26 points. We've got a Game 6 at Oracle on Thursday. We'll come back with the best of the best. A little Say What? Game 5 edition when we return. Wake up, everybody.